That's today's Focus on the Field Ag Minute with Ag Director Bridgette Readel. Brought to you by Summit Carbon Solutions. Tune in for Ag News Minutes each weekday on WDAY. 970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM. Fargo-Moorhead.
Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon. 105 right now, 23 degrees outside of Fargo. Mainly cloudy skies, a few breaks of sunshine, trying to warm us up into the mid-20s and seeing a little bit of light snow, a few pockets of a little wintry mix around the area, a little light snow to our west, a little patchy freezing drizzle, mainly snow up in the northern valley. And, well, we all got free tickets to an amazing train ride. It's not an Amtrak, it's the Clipper Express. Oh. And we're riding it all week long.
I was wondering where you were going with this. I'm like, we're giving away train tickets?
Well, I gave some away to Coffee Club, and they weren't very happy with the tickets I got them. They didn't seem too enthusiastic, so I'm not buying them any more things in the future. I don't blame
you. I wouldn't either.
No, so thanks for joining us again. I'm Meteorologist Justin Storm here with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and Ag Director Bridgette Readel, and you're listening to Weather and Ag in Focus. Got some fun things coming up on the show today, and one of those is going to be our guest. Bridgette, do you want to introduce who our guest is going to be? Because it could be a fun conversation that we'll be having here at 1:20.
Well, I am looking forward to this. Pete Kronberg. Pete is a sheep shearer. He's from down in that Forbes, North Dakota area. He's been around sheep all his life, done production, and we always have plenty of questions when it comes to livestock. And I know I have a lot about, okay, when you take the wool off, where's it go? What's the steps involved? And are they doing it now? Because I think I'd put it back on, considering what next week's weather is going to look like.
Yeah, no kidding. And Bridgette was just alluding to it. Yeah, it's doesn't look a whole lot like a bunch of fun to me, in my opinion, but someone's going to like it. I just don't know who that person's going to be.
The cold?
Cold.
Yeah, big Arctic cold. This will
the
be
big burr, some people might refer to it as.
That would be a good explanation. This is going to be similar to the Arctic outbreak that we had in December before Christmas, except I think this one's going to last a little longer and varying intensities from time to time. But when the core of the Arctic air comes down either next week or shortly after that, we'll probably have wind chills sometime next week between 30 and 50 below across the area. So, yeah, some really nasty stuff. Oh, hey now.
I don't want it.
You.
It's ended away. Me and Bridgette right now. Just.
Yeah.
When we have those super cold temps next week, and you just said wind chill, how much wind do you need to get that cold?
Not much. That's the thing. You don't need much
5
wind.
Or 10 miles an hour.
Yeah, when you're down to 20 below, it doesn't take much wind to knock that wind chill down to 40 below. So, and keep in mind the wind chill we have now is different than the wind chills we had back in the 70s and 80s, even in to the early 90s, where wind chill back then, which may have been 70 below, right now would calculate out at what, about 60 below?
60, 55, 50, somewhere in there.
Yeah, so a little bit different now than it was back in the day.
Yep. But
hold on. When we come back, I am going to have some questions for you guys about some of those cold wind chills. I have a little guessing game for you on some weather history.
Ooh, okay.
You guys ready for that?
Sounds good to me.
Well, excellent. We'll do that when we come back right after this.
From ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. As Los Angeles County authorities investigate Saturday's mass murders of 11 people at a dance hall, there was another mass shooting in San Mateo County, California. 7 people shot dead at 2 agricultural locations around Half Moon Bay. Sheriff Christina Corpus.
This is a devastating tragedy for this community and the families touched by this unspeakable act of violence.
A suspect is in custody, said to be cooperating with investigators. Commenting on the dance hall massacre, Governor Gavin Newsom called the federal government irresponsible in its unwillingness to enact strict gun laws, something his state has not been bashful about doing.
We got serious about these things and led the nation on assault weapons bans, large capacity magazine clips, background checks on ammunition, waiting periods, and red flag laws. saving lives. But the federal government hasn't done it.
In Des Moines, 2 students at an alternative high school were shot dead. An adult employee wounded. 3 people in custody. Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont announced a series of proposed gun laws, including repealing the currently legal open carrying of handguns. 24 days into the new year, the Gun Violence Archive has logged 36 mass shootings. A Washington, D.C. jury convicted 4 members of the so-called Oath Keepers militia in the insurrection 2 years ago.
4 more Oath Keepers convicted of seditious conspiracy to stop Congress from certifying President Biden's win. It could send each man to prison for 20 years. One of those convicted, Roberto Minuta, was identified as helping bodyguard pardoned Trump advisor Roger Stone on January 6th before he and another Oath Keeper rushed to the Capitol in a golf cart to join other militia members.
ABC's Andy Field in Washington. Gas prices continue their recent run-up. The government's national average price for regular rising more than 10 cents in the past week to $3.41 a gallon, 9 cents higher than last year. You're listening to ABC News.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit Optima Tax Relief.
Do you suffer from stiff, achy, chronic knee pain? Have you been told you have arthritis? Is knee pain keeping you from enjoying your favorite hobbies? If so, the next 60 seconds could change your life. Please listen carefully. If we find you are a candidate for our unique approach, we will do a trial treatment, and day 1 you will know, without a doubt, if we can help you. Pick up the phone right now and call 701-502-6200. And best of all, we may be able to reduce and even eliminate your knee pain without pills, shots, or surgery. Due to limited capacity, you must call now at 701-502-6200. Hurry. Call now to find out if you qualify for our program that is changing lives and helping people save time, money, and agony. Call now 701-502-6200. You have nothing to lose, so call right now.
Thanks for joining us, rejoining us, I should say. 1:13 this afternoon. Temps in the low to mid-20s across the valley right now. Little light snow in the northern valley and west of the southern valley around Jamestown. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm here with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And Bridgette was teasing she's got a few questions for us. And Bridgette, why don't you go ahead and shoot those questions over? You said you had some questions about the wind chill before I introduce the next thing that we'll do right after that.
Okay, well, so what I wanted to bring up was this goes back quite a ways. And February 13th, 1899, the Gulf Coast experienced its coldest morning ever recorded. Do you guys happen to know what state or what that record temperature might have been?
It was Houston, and it was 17.
Let's go to the other side of the Gulf, please. But it
was Georgia, and it was 17.
It was Colonel Mustard in the library with a candlestick. Oh, I'm kidding. That's wrong game. Wrong game. So, actually, the Gulf Coast, this was in Florida, and it was a -2 in Tallahassee.
Ooh.
So
that's not good for the oranges or the iguanas.
Yeah. Exactly. Iguanas falling from the sky. But y'all mentioned before we went to break that we don't measure wind chill the same as we used to. So I know this is going to sound stupid. Could anything have changed in the temperature? I'd like to think it's scientific and accurate, and that hasn't changed.
No.
But, this was from 1899. Yep. So that's an actual temperature, right?
Yep, actual temperature, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those readings they had even back then were spot on accurate. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we haven't really varied much in the Fahrenheit scale in all these years.
What else? You said you had another one, right? You got a couple?
I can have another one if you'd like. Okay. So on February, because we're coming up on February, February 5th, this was even sooner, 1997, Colchester, Ontario pushed mountains of ice against the northern shore of Lake Erie. It crushed houses and cottages. Guys, that's a lot of ice, and that's a lot of wind.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know how much. It doesn't tell me how much wind, but that's just a little fun fact we can have about Ontario.
It takes a lot. Yeah. And Justin's got a little.
This is going to be fun, but you need to listen very carefully because this might be a little tricky, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to get what I'm talking about.
So if they do know what it is.
So I'm going to play a sounder. Now listen, we have a guest coming up, so we can't take guesses for the next 10 minutes, but you'll have 2 to 3 minutes to call in, and then we will return to this in our last segment after our guest leaves for that 150 minutes. So you'll get about 3 minutes to call in. Please don't call in trying to guess what the sound is during our guest, though. But if you know what this sound is, you're winning yourself one of our fancy, fancy rain gauges, and the phone number to call is 701-293-9000. What was that? I don't know. Do you know what that is?
One more time.
701-293-9000. Guess the sound.
Hint?
No,
it's
no hints. No hints.
Little hint.
No.
It's from an old vintage. You want to call it a toy?
Toy.
Old vintage toy. Before you were born.
Not necessarily.
This goes way back. So what's that sound again? You can win a rain gauge if you tell us from what this is. Wow. No one's guessing
Y'all are never going to guess it.
No one's guessing that.
You know how many people are sitting there and they're like, man, what is that?
You've got to be in your 50s or 60s to know what that sound. Or maybe, well, I mean, unless you collect those. No?
No, let's head over to the phone lines. Sorry, Bridgette.
It's okay. If you went to Grandma's house and played with it, you know what it is.
That's true.
All right, hey, welcome to Weather and Egg in Focus. Who is this? What's your guess?
Scott.
Scott, what do you think that sound was?
Little Tyke's barn door.
No, that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Wow.
Very first caller.
Man.
I didn't think anyone was going to get that. Yeah. That's exactly what it was.
Really? See, you thought you'd stump everybody.
I thought I was going to. Well, Scott, stay on the line. Our producer will get some information from you on how you can claim one of those coveted rain gauges, all right?
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Thank you
and
for
those
calling in.
And those rain gauges from Productive Alternatives down in Fergus Falls. So if you didn't win one, you want one. These are the heavy-duty ones. You can log on to Productive Alternatives website, and you can order them off of there. They're really, really nice.
They're really nice.
Yeah. Boy, the first caller.
Yeah, man, that wasn't any fun. I mean, I'm glad someone won, but I was hoping we'd get at least like 10 callers to guess.
Now, Bridgette, obviously. Now, did you know what it was, Bridgette?
Yep, right off the bat.
Really?
We not only had that barn when I was kids. My brother had one. Our son has one. I still have it at my house, and I have a Hallmark Christmas ornament of that exact same barn. And the door, when you open it, it moves just like that. I love it.
Okay, so next
so much fun.
All right, Bridgette, you're gonna have to bring that toy in next time you're in studio. I've got it. Because I want to say I had one. I wish we would have kept most of our toys from when we were younger. They were, it just brings back good memories. But yeah, bring that in, Bridgette. I want to.
I'll be bringing the barn.
The barn and the cows.
If anybody has the pig, I am missing the pig and the dog. Otherwise, I've got the barn, the cow, the horse, the fence, the rooster, the water trough, but I'm missing a few pieces. So if anybody wants to play wheeler dealer, you can email me, ag@flagfamily.com, and I'll talk to you about buying your toys.
Bridgette's got a lot of money to spend on those toys, too, so you might make a quick little penny. Maybe I should say a nice, shiny penny.
No, but I can make cookies. How's that?
Oh, I've heard that you make really good cinnamon and caramel rolls, too.
Oh, I do. In fact, they'll be at Agronomy on Ice next week. We'll have them there.
There you go. Well, congratulations, Scott. You knew what that sounder was. Man, our listeners are too smart. I thought that was going to go. We're going to take a short break, get our guests lined up, and we'll rejoin here on Weather and Ag in Focus in about 3 minutes.
What do you call a place that feels like home every time you walk in? A place with plenty of TVs to watch a Saturday or Sunday game and still be able to carry on a conversation. It's known for delicious lunch specials, soups, and appetizers made from scratch every day. We call it Midtown Tavern, where they don't skimp on food or drinks anytime. Head to Midtown and enjoy Wednesday wine night, live music nights, and Dwayne's Pizza any day of the week. That's Midtown Tavern, Highway 10 East in Moorhead. See Facebook for specials, watch parties, and live music.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure for fast, powerful nighttime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Ew, the toilet sneeze. Every flush spews bacteria onto surfaces that little Bobby touches and then spreads to the light switch and everywhere else in the house. Yuck. So Dad uses Microban 24 to help stop the spread. It's the only sanitizing spray with a long-lasting shield that keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria on surfaces for up to 24 hours. Be confident you're protecting your family with Microban 24. Don't just sanitize it, Microban it.
Fair Meadow Nursing Home is a 42-bed skilled nursing facility in Fertile, Minnesota. They pride themselves on the small-town, close-knit, home environment feel it provides its residents. And Fair Meadow Nursing Home is now hiring for the following positions: CNA, LPN, CNA therapy aides, dietary cook, dietary aide, and housekeeping aides. Fair Meadow Nursing Home and Assisted Living is committed to providing seniors a rich, meaningful, and dignified life, focusing on physical, social, spiritual, and emotional needs in order to provide the best life journey possible.
You did it again, Fargo Moorhead. Thanks for voting Fix It Forward Auto Care the best auto care of Red River Valley 3 years in a row, including the categories of Best Tire Retailer and Best Customer Service. Plus, Fix It Forward Ministry won Best Local Nonprofit. We're honored and we promise to continue serving our great community, providing you the best auto care experiences. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix It Forward Auto Care.
Celebrate your commitment. Celebrate falling in love over and over again. Wimmer's Diamonds can help you find the perfect ring that says, "I love you even more today." A beautiful pendant that says, "You're simply the best." An exquisite bracelet that says, "I'm so happy you're in my life." At Wimmer's Diamonds, we believe in showing your love with wonderful, beautiful reminders. Wimmer's, located at 4582 32nd Avenue South in Fargo.
And welcome back here at WDAY, Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette, Readel, Ag Director, joined by Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and Meteorologist Extraordinaire and the guy behind the sounders, Justin Storm. Glad to have you joining us today. And even better, joining us is a guest today, and that would be Pete Kronberg. Pete is a sheep shearer from down around the Forbes, North Dakota area, but that's all I know. Pete, tell us the rest, what you do, and did I get the town right?
Yeah, I live down in Forbes, raise sheep and cows, and shear a few sheep. I try not to spread the sheep shearing part around too much because then I start getting phone calls, so... there's a lot of demand for it. So.
Apparently, are we giving you bad advertising if we're telling the world that you're great at sheep shearing?
Oh, I'm not great at sheep shearing. I'm very average. So
I'm terrible. I can't do it.
The great ones are much better. Are much better. But no, the difference between me and like the best in the world is night and day. It would take probably 4 or 5 of me to match one of those guys. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. So.
Well, we got lots of questions for you, Pete. And the first one I'm going to kick off with is, how long have you been raising sheep and cattle, and what led you to shearing? Was it hard to find someone to do it, so you started doing it yourself, or just kind of give us the background?
Oh, well, we've had sheep and cows my whole life. My dad sheared sheep for a lot of years, and I was just lucky enough to be born into it, I guess, mostly. but it's something that actually pays pretty well. I don't shear a lot of sheep, but it does pay pretty well. As far as what led me into it, when I was in college, I realized I really didn't like what I was going to school for. So I changed course a little bit and I started raising sheep with my dad. And sheep shearing's kind of an easy way to make a little bit of extra money. And it's a great workout. Like I think it's probably the most physically intense activity known to science. It'll make you all kinds of tough. So
we had some parents-in-law, their neighbors do a bunch of sheep shearing, and yeah, it's a lot of work, and it's really hot work as well. And you had mentioned that you don't shear a lot, but in weight, what does not a lot look like? Because wool gets heavy.
By head, you mean? Yeah. Oh, no. No, I was referring to the number of head I shear. I don't shear very many in a year. You know, there's guys that shear 30,000 plus a year.
Holy cow.
I shear maybe, a little over 1,000 or, somewhere in there.
And Pete, for our viewers,
it's not a lot.
Yeah, for our viewers, when you say, well, it's a great workout, explain how. Because most people are probably thinking, well, you just shear.
Yeah, it's like shaving your head off.
Yeah, how hard is that? But so explain how why is it such a good workout?
Well, you've got an animal that's about 180 pounds, and you're essentially wrestling it all day. There's a ton of technique involved, which doesn't look like it. I was talking to a guy here this spring, and he tried to shear his own sheep. He decided he was going to shear his own. He made it through 3 head before he gave up.
Wow.
Whoa.
But it just most of what you see when you actually see someone shear sheep, most of what they're actually doing is happening with their feet and their knees. That's where most of your control is over that sheep. But if you watch it, it doesn't look like they're really doing much of anything,
Right.
So a lot of people think it looks easy, but so you're wrestling them that way, and you're doing that for many hours a day. Moving a 180-pound animal around. And then on top of that, you're bent over all day long, and your back will get really, really strong. Most people don't have a lot of lower back issues if they start shearing sheep.
And how much wool do you get off of a sheep? I mean, I know that it gets heavy, especially if you do a bulk amount of them, but how much wool can you get off of one?
8 to 12 pounds a piece, about. Wow. That's pretty normal.
It's a good amount. So
somewhere in that range.
So if you're able to do a couple hundred, I mean, that adds up pretty quick.
Yeah, it'd be a couple hundred would be, 2,000 pounds, about a ton.
And how long does it take for their coat to grow back where they have to be sheared again?
It depends on sheep breed. But by and large, everything you're going to see in the States is going to be once a year. They get shearing once a year, or shortened once a year.
So is there anything... Oh, sorry, Bridgette, go ahead.
What time of year do you do that? Because with this cold front that's moving in, you probably wouldn't want to be shearing right now, or how does that work, Pete, for timing?
Mostly, there's different variations on it, and some of it has to do with management. But for the most part, you want to be say about 3 weeks before lambing is when you want to do it. That's pretty optimal. And the reason is, like you see him in that video there, he was going across the belly. That's the most important part. The belly and then their crotch. And there's some people who just belly them before they lamb, and that's so the lamb has easy access to the teat. So he's not trying to find his way through a bunch of wool.
I see it.
That's the important part there.
How about when it comes to the quality of the wool? Is there things that you do to improve the quality, or are there times where you're shearing and there's nothing you can do? This wool is unusable. What do things like that kind of look like? Can you get an unusable wool because it's just bad quality, or are there things that come into play that can ruin the quality of the wool?
the one thing that would only really make it really unusable would be that I've seen would be plastic contamination, like people grinding net wrap, and it getting in the wool, because they don't have a good way of getting that out. But other than that, as far as the wool goes, you just want it clean. You want wool and nothing else. So anything you can do to accomplish that helps.
Okay, let's take just a moment. When you said grinding net wrap, for folks that might not know what that is, Pete, and please, if I get this description wrong, please tell me. But net wrap is what, when you're baling, instead of using twine, you can use a net wrap to hold a hay bale together. And if that net wrap is not removed before that bale is ground into feed, that bit of plastic will wind up in the pens with the sheep, et cetera, and then it can be entangled in their wool. Would that be a fair statement?
Kind of, yeah. It just kind of gets spread throughout it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, like we do have some in our place when we buy most of our feed. Next year, we're going to make sure that there's no plastic coming onto this place, because I absolutely despise plastic twine and net wrap, and it's just a mess. And actually, the amount of plastic contamination in agriculture is ludicrous. It's large. And I don't know why. Like it's foolish in the short term, and it's really nuts in the long term.
Absolutely, because it's not going away.
Yeah, it's a big problem. Yeah, it's going to be there forever.
For those who might be just joining us, we are spending some time visiting with our guest today. That's Pete Kronberg. Pete raises sheep and cattle. He's down by Forbes, North Dakota. But we're also talking about sheep shearing, because that's a bit of a lost art. We don't see it very often. And Dean and Justin and I are going to come back here after we take a moment to listen to some commercials. And when we come back, we will have more questions. And one of those that I want to ask is, well, where does the wool go? So, Pete, when we come back and join you, we're going to ask that question and more. We'll be right back here on Weather and Ag in Focus.
Here's a message just for the attorneys out there. So you passed the bar, joined a firm, or even built your own. Now are you finding out that you're doing more administration than actual law practice? Lexicon can help. Lexicon is a legal technology provider with over a decade of experience streamlining administrative tasks like timekeeping, billing, and more, so you can focus on maximizing billable hours and increasing client satisfaction. Call 855-4LEXICON or visit lexiconservices.com/go to learn more.
God, I'm so stressed. It's a brand new year and our business is busier than ever.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
The chilly weather is here whether we like it or not. And the team at Precision Concrete Cutters Ramjack North wants you to know that because Mother Nature doesn't rest this time of year, neither do we. The frost and snow create moisture in the ground. This can cause stress on your foundation. Precision Concrete Cutters Ramjack North, we have the solution for every basement problem.
So when Mother Nature strikes, contact your complete foundation experts, the team at Precision Concrete Cutters Ramjack North. Go to PCCND.com. That's PCCND.com.
Are you a family member, your neighbor, or friend saving for something special or have unexpected expenses? Labor Masters is here to help. Hi, Nancy Kelly here. The process is simple. Bring your picture ID, a social security card, or birth certificate. It takes 10 minutes to fill out the application, and we'll put you to work. So come in, go to work, and get paid the same day. To learn more, go to labormasters.net. The best companies, great jobs, and daily pay.
Do you suffer from stiff, achy, chronic knee pain? Have you been told you have arthritis? Is knee pain keeping you from enjoying your favorite hobbies? If so, the next 60 seconds could change your life. Please listen carefully. If we find you are a candidate for our unique approach, we will do a trial treatment, and day one you will know without a doubt if we can help you. Pick up the phone right now and call 701-502-6200. And best of all, we may be able to reduce and even eliminate your knee pain without pills, shots, or surgery. Due to limited capacity, you must call now at 701-502-6200. Hurry. Call now to find out if you qualify for our program that is changing lives and helping people save time, money, and agony. Call now 701-502-6200. You have nothing to lose, so call right now.
Hi, this is Kevin Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer's Auction Company. Pfeiffer's upcoming January 2023 auctions include 160 acres of good cropland in Burke County, 339 acres of cropland north of Dickinson in Dunn County, 305 acres of exceptional cropland in Cass County near Erie, 320 acres of highly productive cropland near Hope, North Dakota in Steele County, and 239 acres of exceptional cropland in Foster County near Kensel. View these auctions and many more land and equipment auctions at Pfeiffer's.com.
Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus here on WDAY. So glad to have you joining us for the afternoon. I'm Bridgette, Readel Ag Director, along with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and Meteorologist Extraordinaire Justin Storm. And our guest today, Pete Kronberg. Pete raises cattle and sheep down near Forbes, North Dakota, and in the free time, shears sheep. And we've got lots of great sheep questions for you here, Pete. And one of mine is, where does the wool go after you shear those sheep? Where is a delivery point that you can take it? Because also, it's not necessarily a perishable item, so how long can you store wool before you take it somewhere to sell?
I'm not for sure how long you can actually store wool, but it's quite a while. Several years, if conditions are right. But you can take it to any wool buyer, essentially. Like as far as North Dakota, a lot of people go down to Hecla, South Dakota, Belle Fourche, South Dakota, Bowman, North Dakota. Those are all wool buyers down there. Anyways, my phone's having a fit here. Those are some places. As far as where it goes from there, it can kind of be anywhere. It can be East Coast. I think that's where our stuff went last year. It was some buyer on the East Coast. What they were doing with it, I have no idea.
Interesting. We had an email question come in, and they were wondering if sometimes like ticks get on the sheep, and does it make the wool make it hard for them to remove the ticks, or are there any health concerns that go into the sheep if they don't get sheared?
Yeah, you can have a tick issue. I don't know how much of an effect it really has on them. Granted, if you got a lot of ticks.
Mm-hmm. And what about if you don't shear the sheep? Is that bad for the health, or will the wool just stop growing at some point? And I think that we maybe might have just lost Pete. So we'll try and get Pete reconnected here because got to get those email questions answered for our listeners.
I've got one that came in saying, I've heard if you set a sheep on its tail, it can't move.
Right. I've heard that too.
Have you?
And I have seen videos from Australia that sometimes the wool gets really thick and other little critters could be in there. Like sheep shearers have found small snakes or something when a sheep is lying down and it just burrows into the wool. So I really want to hear a little bit more about what that might be like.
I would like to know how.
Go ahead.
How would you get a sheep to stand on its tail?
Well, it looks like we got Pete back, so we can ask him all those
Yeah, I'm
questions.
back,
And I think where we left off, oh, no worries. Tech stuff happens from time to time. I think where we left off before we got disconnected there was, are there any health concerns to sheep if they don't get sheared? Will the wool just keep growing? Will it become so much where there's too much weight and it becomes immobile? Or does that wool just stop growing after it reaches a certain length?
No, it'll just keep growing. It's just a different type of hair. It just keeps growing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it can be an issue. That takes a lot of wool, though. A couple years of wool, they'll probably be all right.
Interesting.
All right, and Pete, we have an email here from one of our listeners saying that they heard that if you set a sheep on its tail, it can't move. Is that true?
Well, kind of.
Okay.
That's actually how you shear them, like if you see it
right
in some way. Most of what you're doing is they don't have any traction.
Mm-hmm.
When they set a sheep up on their tail, their feet can't get a hold of anything.
Gotcha.
So you've got them at a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much all what shearing is. It's just a technique to keep give the sheep less power so they don't whip you quite so bad. Because when they do get their foot on something, it's a bad day. Yeah, because they're strong. They'll beat you every time.
Right.
Have you ever had any injuries from shearing sheep?
Nah, cut myself a few times. You get kicked, especially if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. I got kicked up in the nose once.
Oh.
Kicked in the crotch a few times.
So what kind of power do these animals have? I mean, you get kicked by a horse, that potentially is just game over. But how strong do these sheep get? Can they do some damage? If you get caught the right way, I mean, are you gonna like break an arm or something if they kick you right?
Well, when you're shearing, the biggest danger would be them kicking that hand piece
mm-hmm.
and that flying. So you got to be real careful with that because those are razor sharp. But no, yeah, like if you see a video online with a little kid getting headbutted, the sheep can kill people. A sheep buck can kill a bull.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're made to hit, and they're really good at it.
Wow.
That's really not an issue when you're shearing.
Right.
But if you're feeding them, yeah,
I see.
They hit hard.
And we had another email question come in, and they were wondering about storing the wool. And I know we had kind of touched on it a little bit, but is there like any special prep when it comes to storing the wool, or do you just throw it in a garbage bag and haul it away 2 weeks later?
Well, usually they use nylon or burlap bags, and keep it dry.
Oh, I see.
Mostly you just keep it dry.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing with storing it. So keep it off the ground because it'll wick moisture. Like even if you lay it on cement, it'll wick moisture out of the cement.
I see. Do you keep it in like a warm, like a heated area so that way it's just dry air in there?
No, just a shed up off the ground.
I see.
This is the way we do it. Works good.
So, Pete, I wanted to ask a couple other things as well. And how long do you think it takes you, time-wise, to shear a sheep? Is this a 20-minute deal? Or I've seen that there are actually sheep shearing contests. And when folks get that good at it, what's the time length to get something like that accomplished?
Oh, it depends sheep to sheep. I mean, I could probably shear sheep in 3.5 minutes on an average day.
Quick.
Not really, actually. It's not really quick. Like if you were on really good shearing sheep, and if you're really, really good, those guys can probably knock one out in a minute.
Okay, so here's a question
the
for you.
fastest I've ever done one is maybe a minute and a half.
Okay, so here's a question. This is something that you had said at the beginning of the show that kind of piqued my curiosity, and you were referring to yourself as, it'll take 5 of me to kind of match what a good shearer does. What's the difference between a bad shear and a good shear? Is it how long one strip of wool is? Is it the amount of wool you're taking off of the sheep? Is it the speed? What makes a good shear?
Well, you almost got it there. It's almost all technique, If you if you go online and watch a video of a sheep shear, you'll see them they're constantly moving and everything flows really smoothly. And that's what matters. It's not really as much how fast you move your hand. It's how smoothly you move from one spot to the next.
Okay, so here's a follow-up.
It's kind of a dance.
Right. I don't exactly know how to say this, but does the length of the shear or the chunk of the wool that you take off affect it at all? Like taking like little clumps off versus taking one long piece. I don't know if that's exactly how it works, but is that an issue or a concern at all? Like a really big piece compared to little clumps?
Yeah. No, you don't want to be taking little clumps. Realistically, when you're done shearing, you should have essentially one piece of wool that's all connected together.
Okay.
You have a couple little tufts and a couple little spots that aren't. Like the top of the forehead might not be.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it should all be in one clump. You could grab it and it'll all be connected.
Interesting.
If you do it right. Yeah.
So, Pete, I was in an older barn at one point in time, and they had sheep on the farm, and there was a dip tank. And literally it was below ground. The sheep could walk through it to be dipped. And can you explain to folks what that means when you have sheep, why you would do that, or if that's still a common practice?
I don't know anyone. I've never seen that done. But yeah, it was just for getting rid of sheep ticks primarily and lice.
Okay. So that's changed.
And
that's
I don't know what they would have used. Oh yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
you just use if you want to get rid of those, you just use a sprayer, or a pour-on.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, probably same active ingredients. At one time, they might have actually used just straight nicotine, in those dips, instead of a permethrin or something like that. But yeah, and that was the point. You jump them in there, and they get totally coated, and it kills all the insects essentially.
And Pete, I've had a few dogs in the day where when we take them to get trimmed up or cut, or even sheepdogs, when you get them shaved, some dogs just don't like it. So when you bring them into the vet, they have mechanisms where I guess the animal's kind of tied up in a certain way where they're not going to be moving around. Is there anything like that for sheep, or is this is just all done by hand and that's the only way you can do it?
Just a sheep shearer's technique mostly. Yeah. Some people put them on a stand, like a show thing. They'll put them on a stand. That's incredibly slow and not very effective.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's all taken care of with your technique, with your feet, your knees, and your left hand if you're a right-hander.
Right.
That controls all of that.
Another question coming in here. Does the sheep's diet affect the wool at all? Does it make the wool stronger or not as strong, the quality?
Yes, and I have no idea how, except I do know one part. I do know one part of it. So there's not a lot of research on it. But one part of it is the better quality of the diet, generally the longer, the more wool they'll grow, so it'll be a longer staple. And it'll also get coarser. So its diameter will get larger, which is actually a lower quality. We'll make it lower quality. But that's about all I know as far as diet, and there's going to be a lot of other things that come into play there, minerals and whatnot, and as far as how much lanolin they have in the wool, the strength of it. There's a whole bunch of different metrics for wool actually, and I don't know a ton about them, and not many people know much. There's a few people in the country who do, but yeah,
well,
that's hard to say.
I can tell you right now, Pete, you have given us far more knowledge than we ever had at the beginning, and thank you so kindly for joining us. I also have to apologize. One of your very astute customers let me know that your name is Kronberg, not Kronberg. I had the wrong consonant in there, so I apologize for that. But I want to say thank you to joining us and talking about sheep and shearing today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks,
folks. We're going to catch up. We're going to catch up with the American Ag Network and be back right after this.
What do you call a place that feels like home every time you walk in? A place with plenty of TVs to watch a Saturday or Sunday game and still be able to carry on a conversation. It's known for delicious lunch specials, soups, and appetizers made from scratch every day. We call it Midtown Tavern, where they don't skimp on food or drinks anytime. Head to Midtown and enjoy Wednesday wine night, live music nights, and Dwayne's Pizza any day of the week. That's Midtown Tavern, Highway 10 East in Moorhead. See Facebook for specials, watch parties, and live music.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Higginson, Sunday morning at 6. Learn the answers to the financial questions that keep you up at night and get the latest news, tips, and takes to help you make the most of your money. For even more insights, go to creativeplanning.com/radio. At Creative Planning, our team of wealth managers works with in-house CPAs and attorneys to ensure you can rest easy knowing every aspect of your wealth is taken care of. Visit creativeplanning.com/radio.
Listen up, North Dakota.
Climb aboard!
It's time to set sail for saving.
Climb aboard!
January 27th through the 29th.
Climb aboard!
And it's happening at the Fargo Dome.
The boat show is coming, better climb aboard.
Happy Harry's presents this chance to see all the latest in fishing boats, pontoons, runabouts, speedboats, personal watercraft, and the largest selection of docks and lifts. The newest innovations in marine electronics and accessories. Learn how to use the latest electronics to put you on more fish with fishing legend Dave Sanda. January 27th through the 29th. The 31st annual Red River Valley Boat and Marine Product Show at the Fargo Dome. This is North Dakota's largest and best boat show. It's great fun for the entire family. Show information and save a $1 coupon at fargoboatshow.com.
The boat show is coming, better climb aboard. The boat show is coming, better climb aboard.
A Sudeco production.
Mixed action in grains with the wheat market leading to the upside. You're listening to the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen with this closing market update. Well, overall on the day Tuesday, we saw a little bit of end-user buying and some speculative money come back into the markets. Corn, beans, and wheat all pushed notably higher this morning following the sharp losses we saw on Monday. Soybean prices, though, were unable to hold those gains. Harvest pressure picking up in Brazil and a better weather forecast in Argentina helped to put pressure there. Some late selling in bean meal and bean oil as well weighed on soybeans. Quarter wheat prices, though, held on to early gains as we see the quarter wheat supply still remains snug. They do lack a near-term compelling story, but March corn able to move above its 100-day moving average as we see that corn market. A little bit of intermarket spreading there between old and new crop as well on the day Tuesday. Livestock trade mostly lower on the session, just not able to find much support there throughout cattle and hogs on the day on Tuesday. March corn up 10.5, 676 3/4. July corn up 9 3/4, 664. March soybeans down 1.5, 1488 3/4. July down a half penny, 1479.5. March bean meal down 220 a ton, 459.70. March bean oil down 99.6105. March Chicago wheat 15 1/4 higher, 735 1/4. March KC wheat up 15 3/4, 834 3/4. Spring wheat March up 14.5, 902 1/4. February live cattle up 37, 157.85. April up 75, 161.30. Feeder cattle January down 22, 178.95. March up 32, 183.60. February hogs down 47, 77.10. April hogs down 7, 85.37. May hogs unchanged, 93.40. That's a look at how the market trade wrapped up on the day on Tuesday. Again, grains mixed to higher with wheat and corn leading the way. Livestock trade mostly lower. You're listening to the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen reporting.
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us. 153. We just got done speaking with Pete Kronberg, and he was telling us all about sheep shearing. And, you know, I knew it was going to be a fun conversation, but I had way more fun than I thought I was actually going to have with that, Bridgette. And it was so interesting, and all the questions just started flowing through. And I'm like, man, there's a lot that goes into sheep shearing. Who would have guessed?
Well, yeah, sorry. Who knew it was a good workout?
You know, exactly. When we talk to guests and you hear about things that happen in ag, you don't even realize the whole backstory. And suddenly I'm thinking, why am I snowshoeing? I need a few sheep to shear. That's really going to checker me out.
Kidding. That's fun. And again, we're going to say congratulations to Scott for we had our mystery sound. No, what's that sound? Don't call in. We already know what that sound is. We're not giving another rain gauge away right now. But it's just a fun sound. And I'm glad that he won, but I wanted it to take like 10 people. I didn't think you'd get it on the first caller.
It's good listening.
It is a fun little listening thing. And
Dean,
let's hit on that forecast because I don't think we've touched it yet.
No, not a whole lot. So we've got the rest of today. We've got temperatures in the 20s. We've got a little light snow out around Jamestown, approaching Valley City, moving eastward, so moving towards the valley. So we could see a little light snow redevelop here in the valley this afternoon. It's snowing lightly still right now up in the northern valley, up around Grand Forks. Could mix in a little patchy freezing drizzle, but mainly snow with that. Temperatures should top out today in around the mid-20s with those south winds about 10 to 15. Tonight, then, cold front swings through. You'll know because those winds will shift to the north-northwest and become gusty tonight. We'll drop down to 8. Single digits, it looks like, and sub-zero wind chills by tomorrow morning. A cold, blustery day tomorrow, but we'll see sunshine. At least partly sunny skies. Finally. And
we don't have our cowbell sound effect on here yet.
Not yet. You got to get that. And temperatures tomorrow in the teens, low teens at that. So a cold, blustery day tomorrow with sub-zero wind chills. And then southerly winds will return as we head into Thursday, warming us up close to 30. A clipper system will come through and spread snow from northwest to southeast, and should arrive in the valley on Thursday anywhere between 4 and 6 o'clock, and could come down at a moderate clip there for a while with reduced visibilities for a short period of time. And then temperatures hang right around 30 throughout the night Thursday night before the Arctic front hits, and temperatures fall all day long on Friday. We'll be down in the single digits by evening. Windy conditions, blowing snow, sub-zero wind chills. Friday is going to be a raw day. And then temperatures over the weekend between 0 and 5 below for highs. Nighttime lows 10 to 15 below. And pretty quiet weather after the clipper system on Thursday into early Friday. After that, we're just looking at cold weather. Although, again, according to the LRC calendar, we do have a possible storm system coming around mid-month of February. Maybe one before that as well. But I think the main theme for at least the first 2 weeks in February are going to be below normal temperatures, Arctic cold, and at times we'll have dangerous wind chills. So this is gonna stick around for a while, a little longer than the cold snap that we had in December. It'll be a while before we hear those sounds.
Yeah, at this rate, it sure will be.
But you'll want to mark March 7th on your calendar. We will have our spring and summer outlook for the LRC, which will go into detail month by month on what we're expecting in terms of temperature, rainfall, how it looks for our agriculture community. When will we have dry streaks? Will it be a drought summer, or will it be kind of a normal summer around here? And Bridgette, we will be talking down on Thursday in Herman, Minnesota. Why don't you is that open to the public?
Oh, I think it might be. I do know that I believe it's Barrett Ag has gone ahead and sent out an invitation to their customers asking them to come on in. They're having lunch. They're going to probably talk quite a number of things about crop inputs, and they're very curious about the LRC and its accuracy, especially as we start thinking about spring planting, calving season that's upcoming, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So we're going to visit with them on Thursday, and it's sort of our test run before we get to our spring weather outlook on March 7th. Yes. We'll have lots to share, and
so
always.
Yeah, we'll be giving them a little sneak peek of what our March 7th show will look like as well. We'll just give them a little taste.
Now, I got something to hear, and this is going to be for those sorry, new listeners. I'm glad you're listening, but you'll have to listen more to pick up on the cues. I don't know if anyone still remembers, but
You scratched my ankle.
I don't know what that means, but maybe one of our old listeners, returning listeners, know what that means.
We'll see what happens.
But
ag topics, you guys want to hit on that here before we close things out?
Oh, let's see. I got a phone call real quick. Why don't we see what's going on? Yeah, let's take this one. Hi, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Who is this?
Mike.
Mike, what can I help you with?
Didn't you just play a thing for the boat show?
That's exactly what I did. And you are the first caller to call in and tell me what that sounder was. So congratulations, Mike. You just won a pair of tickets to the boat show.
Awesome.
All right, stay on the line. Our producer will get you all hooked up with that and how you can claim those. All right, Mike?
Sounds great.
All right, thanks for listening.
Have fun there, Mike. Do we have another pair to give away before the week is done? Not today. We're out of time almost. But
oh, well, I just did something on accident. Hello, who's this?
This is Kevin.
Kevin, You know what that sounder was?
I do. That's for the boat show ticket.
It was. We already gave a pair away, but we have another pair, so you're winning as well.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, stay on the line. Our producer Jacob's going to get some information from Mike, and then he'll be with you to get all that information on how you can pick them up, all right?
Sounds great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. There we go.
I guess we won't be giving them away later this week.
Well, I think I have more tickets to give away.
Man, you're just hoarding.
Just not for today.
You're just hoarding them, aren't you?
I just like to hook our listeners up because they're so loyal, and they listen to us all the time.
Good job. Well, I think we're running out of time here.
We are running out of time. We'll have to hit those ag topics tomorrow. Yeah.
And if you ever have any questions, if you have any questions for us, feel free to email us, weather@flagfamily.com, ag@flagfamily.com. I know we had quite a few emails today for our sheep shearer. We'd love for you to call in 701-293-9000. It's always great to have our listeners engage in our show. But that'll
it's talk radio. I mean, talk to us. We'll talk back and ask those questions.
Yep, absolutely. So that'll do it for us for today. For Weather and Ag in Focus, for myself, for our wonderful Mr. Justin Storm. Storm's not his real last name. And then for Bridgette Readel, our wonderful, talented ag director, we want to thank you for joining us today. Be sure to join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Now stay tuned for the Jay Thomas Show.
.970 WDAY AM and 93.